It is a great satisfaction to greet you, and I hope you find yourself well. In today's video we will talk about the following. How is it possible for your ex to fall in love with someone else so quickly? If you've ever wondered why your ex can seemingly fall for someone else so quickly after you break up, then we're going to talk about it today. 1. Is he legitimately in love with the new person? The answer is complicated. I think he at first convinces himself that he really loves this new person. But the version of love is perhaps not love in the strictest sense. The reality is that it is nothing personal towards you. It is not any kind of slight towards your character, it's more his way of dealing with grief and loss. Now the only caveat I want to say here is that sometimes moving on and seemingly falling in love with someone else can be healthy, especially if it's a relationship where you and your ex were together and it was a toxic environment, or was too codependent on you. You were codependent with your ex, he was narcissistic, you get the idea. But situations where maybe that wasn't the case, maybe your relationship was pretty good and then seemingly out of nowhere, out of the blue, he breaks up with you and moves on to this new person and he's doing things with this new person that he didn't with you. Well, it can be painful, but I think it's important to recognize that many people in these types of relationships are stuck in an endless loop. So, essentially, he's a perpetual honeymoon chaser. 2. Understand the concept of a honeymoon hunter. Now, if you know anything about attachment styles, you should know that avoidant ones tend to be quite dismissive. They also tend to be very, very independent. In fact, anything in a relationship that threatens your independence will cause you to leave the relationship. So what's really interesting about people who have an avoidant attachment style is that an ideal relationship for them is one where they don't have to lose their independence, and really, when they start a new relationship, they go through this period of euphoria. This period is also known as the honeymoon period. Now, if you really think about your own experiences, you will probably realize that usually during the honeymoon period you are just basking in its warmth. Usually, you are not cultivating very strong commitments. And typically, if you're talking about very strong commitments that could potentially threaten an elusive person's independence, they're made in the distant future. However, more often than not, he is just enjoying the wonderfulness of the beginning of the relationship. And for a Dodger, this is arguably for the best. He is experiencing a relationship where he gets all the benefits of the relationship, but doesn't have to make any compromises. The thing about the honeymoon period though is that it will inevitably go away. So when this honeymoon period starts to wear off, the avoidant attention span of being in a relationship with you ends. Start noticing any kind of anxious tendencies or start looking for any kind of excuse to end the relationship. And what do they do next? You start looking for a way to cope or ignore your grief by entering into another relationship where you can enjoy the honeymoon period again. And so what you see happening is he's jumping from one relationship to another. And like I said, sometimes it can be a little hard to pin down how long this lasts because the honeymoon period can sometimes last for years for a Dodger. Usually around 6 months. But really, what you are doing is jumping from relationship to relationship. 3. So, let's make a brief synopsis of this situation. Your ex breaks up with this person and they suffer a lot because very, very quickly after your ex breaks up with him or her, this ex leaves with someone else. Well, no wonder he's gone with this new person. This person has a better body. He has cooler habits. He has a better career. It's just better. This causes him to spiral down into a really dark place. But over time, naturally, what happens is that while time doesn't heal all wounds, it certainly helps many of them. Maybe a year will pass. And after this year, he realizes that he was finally over it, but he still wasn't over the fact that you had moved on so quickly until recently. It just proves that this honeymoon chasing approach exists. And I think there are many different reasons why exes, whether male or female, move from person to person. 4. The role of self-confidence. I just think that usually when he moves on to another person very quickly or starts another relationship and says very quickly that he loves that other person, it's not necessarily about you, it's about him or her. You need trust, you don't want to deal with the pain of a breakup. But there is also an ingrained habit at play here. He's done it so many times throughout his dating career that this is the new norm for your ex. This is how he has learned to cope with the breakup. He doesn't handle the duel head-on. It is a pleasure to help you. If the video is useful for you, please give us a like. Share the video, subscribe and comment. Find more important information in the link below here. Thank you.